Good evening from New York. I'm Chris Hayes. Here's a question for you on this Friday night of the worst political week for Donald Trump since he got back into office 10 months ago. Why is it that the president of the United States thinks groceries is an old-fashioned word?
I do say this, beef we have to get down. I think of groceries. You know, it's an old-fashioned word, but it's a beautiful word. I went on groceries. It's a very simple word, groceries. Like almost, you know, who uses the word? I started using the word, the groceries. When you buy apples, when you buy bacon, when you buy eggs, they would double and triple the price over a short period of time.
You know, we lowered the cost of groceries. A simple word like that, groceries, it was like almost a strange word. I hadn't heard the word in so long, but what could be more beautiful than the word grocery?
Now, we've been playing these clips of him for a while now, and beyond just the total weirdness of it, if you take a moment to just think about why he thinks this way, the answer is obvious, right? Donald Trump is an extremely rich man, always has been. He's just never had to think about groceries in his entire life. The word itself just does not come up ever. Like, Donald Trump's not like spending a Sunday night, like going to the supermarket to make sure the fridge is stocked for the week, like pushing a shopping cart up and down the aisles, checking with spaghetti sauces on sale, carrying the bags out to the car, come home, fill the fridge. No, I mean, I don't think he's probably ever done that in his life. He's never had to even consider the thing that most people have front of mind all the time, the groceries. Of course, this is not a new observation. We all know this about Donald Trump. But in this moment, when the price of groceries and everything else is the most salient political issue, it is a pretty bad look to look this out of touch. There's a political cost for a look this bad. If you're older enough to remember, this might remind you of that time in 1992 when President George Herbert Walker Bush made a campaign appearance at a grocers convention. Groceries, such a beautiful word. And seemed amazed by the scanner thing they had at the checkout counter.
He was in Florida yesterday talking to a meeting of the National Grocers Association. He called opponents of his economic plan professional pessimists. And he took a line from an ad campaign saying that reports that the economy has fallen and can't get up are just bunk. The president also got a chance to see a supermarket checkout scanner in action. Kind of seemed as though he'd never really seen one of those before, and the president said that he was amazed.
Now, to be really fair here, Bush was actually just impressed by a new model of scanner, which could even read damaged barcodes. But the gaffe, and again, these were really simpler times, reinforced his image, the out-of-touch Ivy League sign of a wealthy Connecticut senator, which he was. And that moment turned out to be one of the all-time greatest political disasters, and it sure did not help Bush when he lost his re-election campaign to Bill Clinton in the "it's the economy, stupid" election of 1992. But at least George Bush was aware there were things called groceries that people need. The current president thinks it's something from like the horse and buggy days. And we have been talking this week about how much good old-fashioned politics, just the normal politics of a democracy, can make a difference in combating this Trump administration as it attempts to steamroll through our democracy. And we saw it on Tuesday night. And it is amazing to watch Trump and his people make it worse and worse and worse at the worst possible political moment for him. It's as if the administration is on a mission to make sure every American knows that he is, in fact, an elderly, out-of-touch rich guy who just does not care about you. I mean, just yesterday, the guy was quite literally asleep on the job, right in the middle of a televised White House event, only to wake up from his midday snooze when a guy collapsed right next to him in the Oval Office. That is the trademark face of a guy who just wants to get back to sleep. When the president is actually awake, his administration is publicly fighting to this day as hard as it can, to this very minute, to take SNAP benefits away from hungry Americans so they can afford their beautiful groceries heading into Thanksgiving. In fact, just within the last few minutes, they asked the Supreme Court to weigh in, which could happen any moment now, to make it possible for them not to send SNAP benefits. We played this last night, but watch when a Fox News reporter asked Trump about this, and he just passes the hot potato to J.D. Vance.
A federal judge said tonight that the administration has to fully fund SNAP. It's the latest in the back and forth, and the Justice Department said they're going to appeal it. What's your message to folks as they work this out in the courts and in Congress as we're heading into Thanksgiving?
You want to go with that?
Yeah, look, Jackie, it's an absurd ruling because you have a federal judge effectively telling us what we have to do in the midst of a Democrat government shutdown. which what we'd like to do is for the Democrats to open up the government. Of course, then we can fund SNAP, and we can also do a lot of other good things for the American people.
It's absurd. Of course, there's already a $5 billion contingency fund legally required, people argue, to be used in this situation. Now, Trump did end up weighing in on the matter with one hell of a Thanksgiving message to the American people.
You know, one other thing, our country has to remain very liquid because problems, catastrophes, wars, could be anything. We have to remain liquid. We can't give everything away based on a number. I don't want to hear about the affordability because right now we're much less.
Our country has to remain liquid because of the emergencies and can't not because of just a number. And I don't want to hear about affordability. Are you people still talking about affordability? Didn't we get past this? It's like when the Epstein issue blew up. Trump cannot escape the issue, and everything he says seems to make it worse.
I want the Republicans to keep control of Congress in 2026, but something has to be done fast. I don't see the best economy right now. Wall Street numbers do not reflect my Main Street money. Please do something, President Trump. So I guess what do you say to Regina and people like her?
Well, I do say this. Beef we have to get down. I think of groceries. You know, it's an old-fashioned word, but it's a beautiful word. Beef we have to get down, but we've got prices way down. And I have energy down to 5-6-year lows now.
You think prices are coming down from this?
I believe that. Yeah, I think they're coming down, but I think they're down already. I think the biggest problem is Republicans don't talk about it.
He just can't say groceries without meta commentary. Oh, look at that. There is that word again. The one I invented, maybe the old-fashioned one. I mean, in point of fact, the prices have not come down, right? Inflation has actually accelerated since around April when he announced all his tariffs. It's going up. People understand that. It hasn't come down. Certainly, that's a complete lie. But more importantly, he just isn't concerned. He does not care about affordability. He either doesn't care or he doesn't understand how bad his political optics are in the midst of all this. It is a bad look to tear down the White House East Wing to build a fancy new gilded ballroom or to post 25 photos of your new bathroom. 25. Just every angle, every way you could look at it, in the midst of a government shutdown while the air traffic controllers are working without pay. It's truly a Hall of Fame bad look on the day that SNAP funding lapsed and 42 million Americans had their lives upended to be hosting a Great Gatsby themed party at his palatial golf home in Florida filled with West Palm Beach rich folks dressed up like it's the Roaring '20s. You remember The Great Gatsby, of course, the novel about the idle rich people on Long Island who throw hollow gilded parties to show off their lavish wealth just before the country collapsed into the worst depression it's ever seen. All this is not going unnoticed. Sometimes it feels like no one notices this stuff, but this is getting noticed. This was the message that was projected in Washington, D.C. this week. Trump parties at Mar-a-Lago while 42 million go hungry. It's no wonder why Republicans are starting to feel some political pressure.